Hello and welcome to another episode of the Investor Financing Podcast, and I'm your host, Beau Eckstein, and today we're going to talk about converting hotels, churches, and other asset classes to multifamily. It's a huge trend we're seeing out there, and I want to dive into this topic as I'm getting more and more loan requests for people that are finding some opportunity in doing some adaptive reuse projects, and we're going to talk about the different asset classes, and then at the end of the presentation we're going to also dive into how to fund these type of adaptive reuse projects.
Welcome to the Investor Financing Podcast, where we interview real estate investors and lenders so you can learn all the secrets to getting your projects funded and scale your portfolio. And now, your host, Beau Eckstein.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Investor Financing Podcast, and I'm your host, Beau Eckstein, and today we're going to talk about converting hotels, churches, and other asset classes to multifamily. It's a huge trend we're seeing out there, and I want to dive into this topic as I'm getting more and more loan requests for people that are finding some opportunity in doing some adaptive reuse projects, and we're going to talk about the different asset classes, and then at the end of the presentation we're going to also dive into how to fund these type of adaptive reuse projects. So let's get into the different asset types and product types. So we're seeing a big movement of extended stays in hotels and motels. A lot of these hotels and motels that have not been operating at high occupancy levels, there's got to be a better way. And so what they're seeing now is that these make some pretty good conversions to micro units, because usually they're under 400 square feet. The good thing is that there is kitchenettes, usually bedrooms, bathrooms, and living space. So they do make a good fit for more of a micro unit type of multifamily property. And some developers are actually going in and they're reconfiguring the space, but the kind of the more inexpensive way of structuring these is to leave them as is, obviously. Then we're also seeing traditional hotels also being converted into senior living, because they're perfect kind of room, perfect size, and the amenities are perfect for senior living facilities, because they have a lobby where they could have the different activity rooms set up, and the rooms are small. There's usually a kitchenette, so it's really a good fit for assisted living projects too. So you're seeing this as a common trend as well. In addition to that, another big trend is you're seeing churches being converted to multifamily, because oftentimes these churches, there's no real use for them anymore, and it was like a kind of a special use building, right? And what else can go into that property? Pretty much nothing except another church or temple. And if there's no demand for it, this property sits vacant, and there's got to be a better way. The better way is to convert this into multifamily. Typically, these churches are in high trafficked areas, which are good infill projects. So this is another big emerging trend we're seeing as well. In addition to that, you're also seeing malls that are being converted into apartment communities. There was a project here, an Avalon project, that this project is converting the mall into a 300 unit apartment complex. So this is another big trend that we're seeing as well.
You're listening to the Investor Financing Podcast. We'll be right back after this break.
And now a word from our sponsors. Want to save money on your taxes? Cost segregation is a strategic tax planning concept that saves money by deferring federal and state taxes through accelerated depreciation. Get a free benefit analysis today. Please visit costseghub.com for more information on cost segregation and all of our cost recovery services that can put more cash flow in your pocket.
So let's tie this in with also, of course, office space, right? These older downtown office buildings are great fit for adaptive reuse projects to convert to multifamily. Usually they're well situated, and overall the shell of the buildings are a good fit for conversion into multifamily. And the fitting for doing this isn't too costly typically, and so you're seeing a trend of non-performing office type properties being converted to multifamily as well, because in most cities we're seeing a shortage of affordable housing, and this is kind of the solution, I think, because it's usually well situated properties. With land costs, development costs being so expensive, it's oftentimes a lot more feasible to convert as opposed to build ground up. And in addition to that, we're going to dive into financing these types of adaptive reuse projects. There's a ton of capital out there, and there are certain banks and lenders that are better situated for funding these types of transactions, because you got to kind of really understand it. It's not a ground up project, it's a retrofit project. You're changing the use of the project. You got to have the right development team in there as well. But there's debt funds, there's private mortgage funds, there's CPACE, which goes in the capital stack, typically works in conjunction with the senior lender, which it's like pref equity, except the cost of capital is a lot cheaper. So there's a lot of developers pushing now to get a senior loan with CPACE to achieve the leverage they want. And obviously the less capital or equity you have to bring into the deal, the higher returns in theory that you will get. So you're seeing banks and debt funds working with CPACE to create these win-wins.
You're listening to the Investor Financing Podcast. We'll be right back after this break.
Hi, this is Vinny Chopra. I wanted to give this recommendation for my friend Beau Eckstein. I live in Danville in the Black Hawk area, and Beau has been a tremendous friend to me, not only as a friendship, but also as a loan broker. As a matter of fact, I had a chance last year to get opportunity to get a refinancing done on a loan. And he was able to get $8.5 million loan that closed in 15 days. 15 days. I know I've heard many other stories from my friends where Beau has helped them quite a bit to get the hard money loans and flipping and the construction loans and things like that. So that's tremendous, and I really believe he's very straightforward. He gives the best terms that are possible, and then also walks you through the whole process. And those things are really, really important to anybody like me who does not know how to get all the applications and things like that. So thanks, Beau. I really appreciate you, buddy.
You can also stack in historic tax credits. If this is a historic building, you're seeing a lot of that kind of stuff. There's all different tax credits, not just historic tax credits. And then also for heavy substantial renovation, HUD offers a phenomenal program for these types of heavy reuse into multifamily. So there's financing for you for these types of projects. This was just this show is just to kind of give you an overview of an emerging trend that's happening, which I think is going to continue to happen, especially with legislation and government pushing for energy efficiency and green building. You're going to see a lot of developers move in to take advantage of all these credits and the availability of relatively cheap cost of funds right now. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Please share with your colleagues and like and subscribe. You can watch us on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, all that stuff and more. And thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next show. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Investor Financing Podcast. For show notes and useful resources, please visit investorfinancingpodcast.com. For questions or comments, email info@investorfinancingpodcast.com. If you enjoy our show, please share it with your network. Until next time.